Hey everybody, Rick here. Welcome to the Fab Lab. Today we're going to talk about our laser cutters here, the universal laser and our epilogue laser. We're going to go over a few things. We're going to talk about generally how they work. We're going to talk about the safety precautions that you need to be aware of when you operate these machines. And we'll also talk about how to turn them on, how to turn on our air compressors, and how to turn on the fume extractors. Laser cutters are actually pretty simple machines. Essentially, there's a laser tube in the back of this machine filled with a cocktail of gases. When we apply a current over it, a high-powered laser beam is emitted from the corner of the machine. The machine is controlled robotically, and the CNC motors here control the movement of a lens and a mirror assembly, guiding that laser and focusing it down to about the width of a human hair. Because lasers are vaporizing material, there are safety precautions that we need to really be aware of before and during the operation of these machines. The first thing to know is that lasers are really bright. So bright and so powerful, in fact, that if you were to look into the laser beam itself as it was operating, it would blind you irreparably and permanently. These lasers have a safety feature, however, that turn the machine off if we open up the hood. That's great and all, but those switches can technically fail. So when we're operating the machine, we need to make sure that the hood is completely down on both machines before we operate it. Cutting material emits vapor and smoke, which is harmful to our health, so we need to make sure that our fume extractors are running all the time when we're running our jobs. We also need to be certain that we're not cutting materials that emit particularly noxious or dangerous chemicals. For example, we don't run projects that have vinyl or PVC in them, and we don't run projects that have ABS plastic in them. If you have a material at home that you would like to use on the laser, but aren't sure exactly what it is, you need to talk to one of the technicians so we can help you figure out what that material is. It's vital that we don't run dangerous materials on the laser. One good tip is, if you're running a really long project, is to go outside and get some fresh air as the laser is running. It's important that we keep an eye on these machines and we never leave their sides while they're running, but you can ask one of the technicians to watch it for you so you can take a short break outside and get some fresh air. Fires are technically possible in these laser cutters, so we need to be prepared to put out a fire in case one crops up. 99% of the time, if there's a fire, it's because we stacked material and it trapped heat igniting that material, or we're running our machine way too slow, so the settings are improper. If there's any kind of fire or flare-up, the best thing to do is just shout fire and get one of the technicians' attention and we'll come and help you. In the meantime, it's important that you know that you should go and open up the hood in this kind of instance, grab a piece of scrap material and smother the fire by just pressing it gently onto the fire. If for some reason the fire is out of control, then we have a fire extinguisher designed for these machines here. We've never had to use one, thankfully, but if there's a fire that's out of control, you are encouraged to come over here, pick up the fire extinguisher, and go ahead and put out the fire. Now we'll go ahead and take a closer look at these machines, and we'll find the power button, and we'll also look at the fume extractors and where the power buttons are for those as well. All right, so the first step is to turn on the machine, and the power switch is just down here in the bottom right corner of the universal next to the power plug. Here's a close-up shot of it. And for the epilogue, the switch is in a very similar location, also on the side of the machine next to the power plug. The laser cutters need to have air running through the system to help put out any flare-ups and to also keep dust and particulate away from the lenses. To do that, all you have to do is flip these switches, and there's one for each corresponding machine. You have the universal, you can hear that, there's the air. We only want to make sure that's running when the machine is running. And then the epilogue. Make sure to turn off the switches when you're done with your job. All right, let's talk about fume extraction now. So we have two fume extractors, one for each laser cutter. So for the universal laser cutter, we're going to use our Purex filter. The Purex looks like this big refrigerator. And it's going to be right here across the grate. And to turn it on, it's a little tricky, and I'll give you a close-up. We're going to press the center button on this little keypad here through the grate. A little green light will light up, and you'll hear it turn on. The epilogue filter is the Quattro filter, which is the white refrigerator looking thing. There's a switch here at the bottom that you have to come around and flip up. It's the same thing as the universal, just make sure you flip the switch off when you're done with it. So in this video, we covered how these machines generally operate, the safety precautions that we need to be aware of, such as eye safety, respiratory safety, and fire safety. And we also went over where the switches are to turn on the machines, the air compressors, and the fume extractors. If you have any questions, please reach out to us over email or Slack, and look at the description for the link to the video on how to actually set up and operate the machine all the way from start to finish using Adobe Illustrator.